The night I proposed, my fiancée said, "You'll never be my priority. My friends always come first." When I showed her she wasn't mine either, she went crazy begging me to stop. Sup Reddit. The night I put a ring on my girlfriend's finger, my fiancée casually told me I'd never be her priority. Her friends earned that spot 9 years ago. I smiled, nodded, and spent the next month teaching her exactly what it feels like to be someone's backup plan. I, 29 male, proposed to my fiancée Maris, 28 female, at Mercado, this Italian spot in Portland, where we'd had our first date. Spent 3 months coordinating with the owner, dropped $6 grand on a custom ring from some jeweler in the Pearl District, even bribed the pianist to play her favorite song. When she said yes, the whole restaurant erupted. Champagne appeared. Strangers congratulated us. It was one of those perfect moments that belong in movies. We got back to my place in Southeast around midnight, both riding that engagement high. Did the whole celebration thing that newly engaged couples do. Afterward, lying there in the dark, I was already thinking about honeymoon destinations and whether she'd want a spring or summer wedding. That's when she dropped the bomb. You know you'll never be number one, right? The crew comes first. Just like that, casual as ordering takeout. I actually laughed, thought she was messing with me. What? Come on, babe. She rolled toward me, smiling like she'd just shared some adorable quirk. You know how tight I am with the girls. Senna, Britt, and Elowen have been with me since sophomore year at USC. That's 9 years. You've been around for 2. Math isn't that hard. The happiness drained out of me so fast I felt dizzy. Maris, we literally just got engaged. You're telling me your college friends will always take priority over your husband? Well, yeah. She said it like I was slow. They've been through everything with me. Every breakup, every job disaster, every family crisis. They're my real support system, Brenner. You're just the guy I'm building a future with. Cool. So I'm just some dude who stuck around long enough to get a supporting role in her actual life. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there thinking about all the stuff I'd ignored. The anniversary dinner she'd bailed on because Senna had a situation. The Bend trip we'd planned for 6 months that got canceled because Britt needed help with a move. The countless nights she chose 3-hour FaceTime sessions with the crew over watching a single episode of something with me. Every time I'd told myself it was fine. That's what supportive partners do. Around 2 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. Got up, got dressed, went for a drive because lying next to that sentence felt like slow suffocation. Called Theron too, because nothing screams healthy engagement, like phoning your buddy at 2 a.m. to confirm you're not hallucinating. He picked up on the third ring. This better be good. Maris said I'll never be number one, that her friends come first. We literally just got engaged. Dead silence on his end. Brother, what? Yeah, like it was some terms of service pop-up I forgot to read. Apparently I'm signing up for the bronze medal package. That's insane, Brenner. That's not how this works. I stared at my steering wheel like it was going to give me a software update. Well, I guess I'm not engaged anymore. Correct, he said, instantly awake now. Because that's messed up. I drove back around 3:30 a.m. Maris was awake, propped up in bed, phone lighting up the dark, laughing into it. Senna says we should do a rooftop engagement party, she said, without looking up. Sounds perfect, right? I stood there in the doorway watching her type, watching her grin at whatever Senna was saying, and something in my head went quiet and cold. Yeah, I said. Sounds perfect. She didn't even hear the edge in my voice. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled, and was already typing back while heading to the bathroom. I said, got some work stuff to handle. Perfect. I'll probably be gone in a few hours. The girls want to hear every detail. She was out the door in 20 minutes, phone already glowing as she texted the group. That gave me time to think and start lining things up. By Sunday morning, I wasn't sad anymore. I was operational. I called my landlord, my 2-bedroom in Southeast, the place I'd had for 4 years before Maris moved in with me 18 months ago. Brenner, hey, he answered. What's up? Need to give you a heads up. Maris is moving out. Lease stays in my name. Then came the math part. Maris wasn't on my lease. I'd never added her because something in my gut told me not to lock that in. But she'd been living here rent-free for a year and a half. Well, rent-free is generous. She was supposed to split utilities and groceries, cover half the internet and streaming services. Back when she moved in, we sat at my kitchen table and agreed she'd cover half the rent and utilities. She even Venmo'd me $1,200 the first month with rent in the note. After that, it turned into excuses and 200 pity payments. I pulled up my banking app and started tallying. 18 months of I'll Venmo you later, while I watched her order takeout on my card like it was a perk of dating me. She'd been coasting on my dime while treating me like the backup plan. $2,400 monthly rent. Her half would have been $1,200. Times 18 months. That's $21,600. She'd paid maybe $3,000 total in that time, and that's being generous. Add in utilities she'd skipped, groceries she'd promised to cover but never did. The streaming services I paid for that, she used constantly. I wasn't even mad about the money. I was mad she thought I wouldn't notice. And that was before we got to the loan. About 6 months back, Maris had been in a jam. Her company had delayed bonuses, and she'd had this massive tax bill come due, something like $8,000 that she hadn't planned for. She'd been freaking out, talking about borrowing from her parents and how humiliating that would be. I'd offered to help. Actually, I'd offered to give her the money. She'd insisted on a loan, said it was more professional that way, that she'd pay me back within 6 months once her bonus hit. We'd written it up proper, signed and dated, because she'd wanted it official. I'd honestly forgotten about it until now. Pulled the document from my file cabinet that night. $8,000. Signed and dated. Payment terms clearly stated. She'd made exactly one payment of $500 back in March, then nothing. The 6-month deadline had passed 2 weeks ago. That piece of paper was about to become very useful. After I hung up, I killed the autopay on utilities, internet, and that meal delivery service she'd insisted we needed. Then I hit the climbing gym, then the range, then back home to meal prep like nothing had changed. When Maris got home, she was practically vibrating. The girls are so excited! She dropped her purse and started showing me her phone. Screenshots of the group chat, all caps messages, strings of emojis. Senna's already looking at venues. Britt knows this photographer who's amazing. And Elowen thinks we should do destination. Maybe Tulum? Sounds great, I said, plating the chicken I'd made. Whatever makes you happy. She hugged me from behind. This is why I love you, Brenner. You just get it. Most guys would be all jealous and insecure about how close I am with the girls. But you understand that they're part of who I am. I smiled and kissed her temple and served dinner. She was planning a destination bachelorette while I was planning her exit route. Same energy, different planets. Wednesday night she went out for engagement drinks with the crew. I stayed home and drafted the notice. Formal, clean, 30 days to vacate. Oregon law was clear. I didn't need a reason since she wasn't on the lease. Just had to give proper notice. I printed 2 copies, one for her, one for my records. Put hers in an envelope with her name on it. But I didn't give it to her yet. That part needed the right moment. And I had a better idea brewing. The night Maris lost her mind at poker night. Thursday night, I texted Theron, Dashiell, and Dev. Game night at my place, Saturday, 6 p.m. Bring snacks. Theron replied immediately. This gonna be interesting? Very. Maris was on the couch scrolling through bridesmaid dresses when I told her. Having the guys over Saturday. Poker, games, the usual. She barely looked up. Cool. I want to stay. Okay. That got her attention. She smiled, looking genuinely pleased. Really? You want me there? Sure. Why not? What she didn't know was that I'd already briefed the guys. Told them exactly what Maris had said. Saturday rolled around. Maris spent the afternoon getting ready like she was preparing for some kind of social examination. Changed outfits twice. Kept asking if she looked okay. I could see her brain working. Finally, Brenner's prioritizing me in front of his friends. Finally, I'm being included. The guys showed up right on time. Theron brought local IPAs. Dashiell had soda. Dev showed up with pizza and this grin that said he understood the assignment. Maris came out of the bedroom in jeans and a nice top, all smiles. Hey guys! Hey Maris, Theron said. Flat, like he was acknowledging a coworker in the break room. Then immediately turned to me. Yo, Brenner, remember that time at Dashiell's cabin when you caught that bass with your bare hands? Dashiell cracked up. Dude almost drowned going after it. Her smile flickered but held. She tried to ease into the circle. Should I order more food? I can get Thai from that place you guys like. Dev glanced up from setting up the poker table. Nah, we're good. Then to me. Brenner, you want to grab wings later maybe? Yeah, could do wings, I said. Maris just stood there, offer hanging in the air like nobody acknowledged. I watched her face, saw the confusion starting to creep in, but she pushed through it because Maris always pushes through when she's not getting the attention she thinks she deserves. We started playing cards. I dealt the first hand. Maris sat on the couch behind us, phone out, trying to look casual, but I could feel her waiting for an opening to join the conversation. Dashiell was talking about some disaster at his gym. So this guy's benching 315, no spotter, and I swear he gets pinned. Maris cut in. Oh my gosh, that happened to Brenner once. Remember, babe? Haha, yeah, Theron said. Then immediately back to Dashel. Wait, so how'd they get the bar off him? Dashel kept going like she'd never spoken. The conversation flowed around her. She'd tossed a comment in, and it just sank. No ripple. She tried again, 10 minutes later. That's like when Brenner and I went to that climbing gym and... Yeah, totally, Dev said, not looking at her. Brenner, weren't you saying you wanted to hit that new bouldering place? Yeah, we should go next weekend, I said. Maris's mouth closed. She'd been mid-story. Nobody cared about the rest. This kept happening. She'd add something, get a 2-word acknowledgement, then watch the conversation pivot straight back to me like she was a speed bump they'd already passed. Around 7:30, Theron was talking about his ex. I just got tired of being the second option, you know? Like, if you're with me, be with me. Commit or bounce. Real talk, Dashel said. Loyalty's everything. You can't half-heart a relationship. Dev nodded. Some people just don't know how to prioritize what's right in front of them. Like, who does that? They weren't looking at Maris. Weren't saying her name. But I saw her shift on the couch. Saw her jaw tighten. She knew. Brenner's always been solid, though. Theron continued, glancing at me. Dude shows up. That's rare. Facts, Dashel said. If I'm committing to someone, that's my person. Simple as that. Maris's face was getting red. She got up, went to the kitchen, came back with a soda she didn't open, tried to look unbothered. She was extremely bothered. She tried to muscle her way into the next conversation. Dashel was telling some story about a road trip, and she jumped in. Brenner and I are planning a road trip soon. We're thinking, oh, nice, Dashel said. Then to me, Brenner, remember when we drove to Colorado and your tire blew out in the middle of nowhere? Dude, that trip was insane, I said, laughing. They launched into the story. Inside jokes I'd never told Maris. Callbacks she couldn't follow. She sat there trying to smile like she got it, but she was on the outside of a locked door hearing everyone laugh. By 8 p.m., she was done trying to look casual. She wasn't on her phone anymore, just sitting there, staring at us, at me specifically, with this look that was half confusion and half something that looked like panic. Then she stood up. You know what? I think we should all play a game together. Nobody responded. Like, together, she said louder. As a group, I'll get Cards Against Humanity. Theron glanced at me. We're good with poker, thanks. No, come on, she said, voice climbing a little. It'll be fun. Brenner, don't you think... We're in the middle of a hand, Maris, I said, calm as anything. She stood there for a second, visibly calculating. Then she did the thing I'd seen her do 100 times when she wasn't getting her way. She tried to force herself into being the center of attention. Oh my gosh, you guys, she said suddenly, voice way too excited. I have to tell you something. Everyone looked up. Not because they cared, because the energy was so weird and desperate. So I finally hit 10,000 followers on Instagram today. She was grinning like she'd just cured cancer. Like, I've been working so hard on my content and it finally paid off. Isn't that crazy? Dead silence. Dashel blinked. Cool? That's great, Maris, Dev said, already looking back at his cards. Theron didn't even acknowledge it, just reached for his drink. She stood there, smile frozen on her face, waiting for more. For congratulations. For excitement. For literally anything. Nothing. I mean, that's a pretty big milestone, she pushed, voice getting higher. Most people never even get to 5,000, and my engagement rate is like really good now. I might even be able to do brand deals. That's awesome, I said flatly, not looking up from my hand. Brenner, you could at least act happy for me, she snapped. I looked up at her then. You want me to stop my friend's poker night so everyone can celebrate your Instagram followers? She faltered. I just thought, you thought we'd all drop everything and throw you a party for hitting 10,000? Theron said, voice dripping with disbelief. Right now, during Guy's night, her face went bright red. I wasn't trying to make it about me. I was just sharing. By announcing it like you won a Grammy, Dashel said. Nobody cares about your Instagram, Maris. Dev shook his head. Read the room. She looked around at all of them. At me. And I could see it. The moment she realized she'd just made herself look completely desperate and shallow in front of my boys. I'm gonna go, she said, voice shaking. Grabbed her purse. I'm gonna go. Cool, I said. Drive safe. She left. Door slammed. The apartment went quiet for a second. Then Theron looked at me. Bro, what the heck was that? That, I said, sitting back down, is what 2 years of being taken for granted looks like. Dashel whistled low. She really just announced her Instagram followers like we're supposed to give a darn. At poker night. Main character syndrome, Dev said, shaking his head. Yeah, I said. She did. We went back to playing cards. I didn't hear from her for 3 hours. The confrontation. The guys left around 10:30, still dropping jokes about loyalty and showing up loud enough for the walls to remember. I was cleaning up, loading the dishwasher, when Maris came back just before 11. She came in quiet at first. I could feel her watching me from the doorway. What the heck was that? Her voice was tight. What was what? I rinsed a plate, put it in the rack. You and your friends. I was there all night and you treated me like I was just hovering. Like I didn't matter. I turned around, leaned against the counter. Huh. Weird feeling, right? Don't do that. Don't turn this into some kind of what, Maris? Lesson? Reality check? You told me I'd never be your priority. That your friends come first. Always. So I figured I'd show you what that actually feels like from the other side. Her face went red. That's completely different. How? Because my friends have been there for me for 9 years. They've earned that spot. And I haven't earned basic respect after 2 years in a ring? She opened her mouth, closed it. I could see her trying to find an angle that made her right and me wrong. It wasn't landing. This is nonsense, she said finally. You don't just ice someone out like that. They weren't even rude to me. That's what made it worse. I was just there, in my own freaking apartment, and nobody cared. It's educational. I've been living this for 18 months, Maris. Every time you picked a FaceTime with Senna over watching a movie with me. Every time you bailed on our plans because Britt needed something. Every anniversary, every birthday, every normal Tuesday night. I got whatever was left after the crew took their cut. I never ignored you. You did worse. You made me think I mattered while making sure I knew I didn't. At least tonight you knew exactly where you stood. No mixed signals. She was shaking now. Not sad shaking. Angry shaking. The kind that comes right before someone does something stupid. You're a jerk, she said. Maybe. But I'm a jerk who knows his worth. And it's more than third place. That's when she grabbed the vase off the side table. This heavy glass thing we'd gotten from some home store. For a second, I thought she was going to throw it at me. She didn't. Threw it at the wall next to me instead. It exploded. Glass everywhere. The wall had a dent. I didn't move. Just stood there looking at her while my ears rang. Feel better? I asked. She was breathing hard, staring at the broken glass like she couldn't believe she'd done it. Then she looked at me, and I saw something in her face that almost looked like fear. Because she knew. She knew she'd just crossed a line we don't come back from. I walked past her to the bedroom. Came back with the envelope and the loan document. Set them both on the counter between us. 30 days, I said. That's your notice to vacate. You're not on the lease. This is my apartment. You've got until the end of the month to find somewhere else. Her face went white. Brenner, and I want the ring back, right now. She looked down at her hand like she'd forgotten it was there. You can't be serious. Dead serious. Ring. Now. We're engaged. We were engaged. Then you told me I'd never be your priority. Then you just threw a vase at my wall. So no, we're not engaged anymore. Ring. Her hand went to her chest, protective. This is insane. You can't just... I can. And I am. You've got 3 seconds before I add destruction of property to the lawsuit I'm filing. Lawsuit? I picked up the loan document, held it up. $8,000. You paid $500. That's $7,500 you still owe me. Plus 18 months of rent. Your half comes to $21,600. You paid maybe $3,000 total. That's $18,600 in unpaid rent. Plus utilities you skipped, groceries, internet, all the stuff you said you'd cover and didn't. I set the paper down, looked at her. I'm taking you to small claims for the loan. As for the rent, we had an agreement. You Venmo'd me with rent in the note the first month. After that, you just stopped paying. So yeah, I'll be pursuing that too. She was staring at me like I was a stranger. You're actually doing this. You threw a vase, Maris. I'm not letting you play victim here. This is done. Ring. Her hands were shaking when she pulled it off. She set it on the counter like it was burning her. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. Nah, I said. Biggest mistake was putting that ring on your finger in the first place. Second biggest was letting you live here rent-free while you treated me like the backup plan. I picked up the ring, pocketed it. 30 days. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. She stood there for another few seconds, breathing hard, and I could see her trying to figure out if tears would work. They wouldn't. Not anymore. She grabbed her keys and purse and left. Didn't come back that night. I swept up the glass, fixed myself a drink, and slept better than I had in weeks. The friend invasion. The next 2 weeks were predictably rough. Maris moved into Senna's place but still had stuff at mine. She'd take things in batches, leave passive-aggressive notes about how I was ruining her life. Her texts were a mix of begging and threats. I ignored most of them, responded to the practical ones about pickup times and left belongings. Theron helped me change the locks on day 3. She tried to come back yet? Twice. Rang the doorbell for 10 minutes straight last night. He grinned. Persistence. Desperation. On week 2, her friends decided to get involved. I was home on a Wednesday afternoon, working remote, when my doorbell started ringing. Not normal ringing. Aggressive ringing. The kind that says someone's holding the button down. I checked the video doorbell. Senna, Britt, and Elowen. The whole crew. Standing on my porch looking like they were about to shoot a revenge music video. I opened the door but left the chain on. Can I help you? Senna stepped forward. She was the ringleader. Always had been. We need to talk about what you're doing to Maris. I'm not doing anything to Maris. She's moving out, that's it. You kicked her out of her home. That was Britt. Always the aggressive one. My home. My lease. She was never on it. You're being abusive, Elowen said. She had her phone out, recording. This is financial abuse. Emotional abuse. I looked directly at the phone. Maris lived here for 18 months without paying rent. I have bank records proving she paid maybe 15% of what she agreed to. I also have a signed loan document for $8,000 that she defaulted on. If anyone's been financially abused here, it's me. That's nonsense. Senna was getting louder. You're just mad she has friends who actually care about her. I'm not mad about anything. I'm just done being treated like I don't exist. She told me I'd never be her priority, so I made her not mine. Pretty straightforward. Let us in, Britt said. We need to get the rest of her stuff. Oh, she can come get it herself during the times we agreed on. You're not on the lease. You're not coming in. We're not leaving until you let us in. Senna crossed her arms, planted her feet. The other two did the same. Real solidarity moment. I pulled out my phone. Cool. Then I'm calling the cops for trespassing. You wouldn't dare, Elowen said. I dialed. Put it on speaker so they could hear it ring. Portland Police, non-emergency line. Senna's face went from confident to confused in about half a second. Yeah, hi. I've got 3 people on my property who are refusing to leave. I've asked them multiple times. I need them removed. The dispatcher asked for my address. I gave it. She said someone would be there in 15 minutes. I hung up. Looked at the 3 of them still standing on my porch. You've got about 14 minutes to decide if you want to be here when they show up. This is insane. Britt was pacing now. You can't just call the cops on us. I can, and I did. You're trespassing. I don't want you here. That's all the cops need to know. I could hear sirens in the distance. Not close yet, but getting there. Senna heard them too. Fine. We're leaving. But this isn't over. Yeah, it is. Don't come back. They left, walked down my driveway, throwing insults back at me the whole way. I watched them pile into Senna's Audi and peel out just as the police cruiser turned onto my street. The officer took my statement. I showed him the video doorbell footage. He made a note and said if they came back, I should call immediately. Then he left. I went back inside and got back to work like nothing happened. Because really, nothing had. Just 3 people learning that being loud doesn't mean being right. The move-out Maris was out by day 28. Didn't even take the full 30 days. A moving company came by, loaded up the last of her stuff, and that was it. No final conversation, no closure. She texted me one last, I hope you're happy, and then blocked me. I was happy. Apartment was quiet. No more passive-aggressive notes about dishes. No more waking up to her FaceTime laugh at 1 a.m. No more being the last priority on someone's list while paying for the privilege. Filed the small claims paperwork for the loan 3 days after she moved out. The rent thing was trickier. Harder to prove since most of it was verbal agreements. But the loan was airtight. Signed, dated, payment terms clearly stated. She'd have to show up to court and explain why she thought she didn't need to pay back money she borrowed. I blocked Maris's number. Blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, everything. Then I blocked Britt, Elowen, and Senna for good measure. Clean break. No loose ends. No opportunities for any of them to try crawling back into my life with apologies or drama. 2 months went by. Quiet, peaceful. I'd been seeing someone casual. Nothing serious but consistent. Met her at a climbing gym, which felt appropriate. She was direct, didn't play games. Showed up when she said she would. Novel concept. I'd almost forgotten what it felt like to have my life be about me. Then my doorbell rang at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. The desperate return. We'd just finished Thai takeout on the couch, her in one of my hoodies because my apartment runs cold. She was scrolling through Netflix trying to find something that wasn't garbage while I cleaned up containers in the kitchen. I checked the video doorbell from my phone. Maris. Alone. She looked like absolute misery. Hair in a messy bun, no makeup, wearing sweatpants and a hoodie that was definitely too big for her. Not the put-together Instagram girl I'd known. She looked broken. You expecting someone? She called from the couch. Not anymore. I almost didn't answer. Should have stuck with that instinct. But I went and checked anyway. I opened the door. Left the chain on. What do you want, Maris? Brenner. Her voice cracked immediately. Please, I need to talk to you. We don't have anything to talk about. Please. She was crying now. Tears streaming down her face. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. She leaned forward, trying to look past me into the apartment. Her eyes landed on the girl still sitting on my couch, controller in hand, watching this whole thing unfold. Maris's face did that thing where the gears are clearly turning, but nothing's computing right. Against my better judgment, I closed the door, undid the chain, and stepped out onto the porch, pulled it mostly shut behind me. Talk? She wiped her face with her sleeve, still glancing at the door. Are you? Not your business. You've got 4 minutes left. That snapped her back. They kicked me out. Who? Senna, Britt, Elowen, all of them. She let out this shaky breath. Senna said She said I was a black hole, that I sucked up all the attention and gave nothing back. And then Britt agreed. And Elowen. And they told me they needed space, that they couldn't be friends with me anymore. Okay. I don't have anyone, Brenner. Her voice went higher, more desperate. My parents barely talk to me. My sister's in Europe. I moved back home for a month, but my mom kept asking when I was going to get my act together, and I have nobody. Not my problem. I know it's not. But She stepped closer. I stayed where I was. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. You were right about everything. About me putting them first. About taking you for granted. About all of it. Cool. Glad you figured that out. Brenner, please. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have appreciated you. I should have made you my priority. I see that now. You see that now because you're alone. Not because you actually changed. That's not true. I've been going to therapy. I've been working on myself. She pulled out her phone, showed me some app. Look, I've been doing this self-reflection journal thing every day. I'm trying to be better. I looked at her, really looked at her, and all I felt was nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no sympathy, just nothing. Maris, you came here because you have no one else left, not because you miss me, not because you actually value what we had. You burned through your friend group the same way you burned through me, and now you're scrambling for someone, anyone, to fill the void. It is. You're not sorry you lost me. You're sorry you're alone. There's a difference. She was full on sobbing now. Please, Brenner. Please, I'll do anything. I'll pay you back. I'll be better. I'll make you my priority. I swear. You're 2 months too late with that offer. We can start over. No. I said it flat. Final. We can't. Because I don't want to. I'm good, Maris. Better than good. I'm the best I've been in years because I'm not spending every day wondering if I matter to someone who clearly didn't give a darn about me. I did give a darn. I loved you. You loved having me around. You loved what I provided. You didn't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have needed to lose everything else first to realize what you had. She stood there shaking, tears just pouring down her face. Her eyes kept darting to the door behind me. So that's it? You're just done? You're already with someone else? I've been done since the night you told me I'd never be your priority. This is just you finally catching up. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Figure it out, like I did, like everyone does when they hit the floor. You'll survive. You just won't have anyone to use as a cushion on the way down this time. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. You're cruel. No, I'm just not your safety net anymore. Goodbye, Maris. I went back inside, locked the door, watched through the video doorbell as she stood on my porch for a solid 3 minutes, crying, probably hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. Eventually, she left and drove off. You good? She asked from the couch, looking up at me. Yeah, I'm good. Want to talk about it? Not really. Cool. Found a documentary about that fire festival disaster if you're interested. I sat back down, grabbed my drink, put my feet up on the coffee table I'd picked out myself. Perfect. My phone buzzed 5 minutes later. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Please, I'm begging you. I have nowhere else to go. I blocked the number without showing her. No need to drag someone else into old drama. Then another text came through. Another number. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking anyway. Please. Blocked that one too. She tried 4 more numbers before she gave up. I grabbed another soda, settled back into my leather couch Maris had never picked out, and watched a documentary Maris would have never wanted to watch with someone who actually wanted to be there. The apartment was still, clean, but not empty, and I went to bed that night feeling absolutely nothing about turning her away, because some people only want you when they have no other options. And I was nobody's last resort. The aftermath. 3 months later, I got a notice about the small claims court date. Maris didn't show up. Judge ruled in my favor by default. $7,500 plus court costs. I knew I'd never see all of it. Getting money from someone who doesn't want to pay is like pulling teeth from granite. But I filed for wage garnishment anyway because principle matters. I ended up collecting about $4,000 over the next 6 months. Not the full amount, but enough to feel like justice got served at least partially. The rent money was gone. I'd known that going in. But the loan payback felt like a win. Small, petty maybe, but mine. My apartment stayed mine. Re-signed the lease in my name only. Hired a junk removal service to get rid of the furniture Maris had picked out. Replaced it with stuff I actually liked. Leather couch instead of that beige fabric monstrosity. Proper TV stand. Coffee table made of actual wood. The gym became my therapy. Climbing 3 times a week, lifting 4. I added 15 pounds of muscle without even trying because my cortisol wasn't constantly spiked from wondering if I mattered. The casual thing I had going turned into something more solid around month 5. Not because either of us was rushing it, just because it worked. She had her own place, her own life, her own friends. When we hung out, it was because we wanted to, not because someone was keeping score of who initiated last. She asked me once what happened with my ex. I gave her the short version. She told me I'd never be her priority, so I made her not mine. She'd nodded. Good for you. Most guys would have stayed and tried to fix it. Can't fix someone who doesn't think anything's broken. Exactly. Went to a Timbers game solo about 6 months after everything went down. Grabbed nachos, found my seat, watched the whole thing in comfortable silence. Portland won 2-1. I went home to my quiet apartment, made food, watched whatever I wanted, and fell asleep without anyone's phone lighting up the room at 1 a.m. Best sleep I'd had in years. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.